is Gimel, page 88. I think it's up to. So the Maimon is explaining addressing the details. I will explain the difference between Kriyas Yamsuf, which he's explaining was a ha'chana from Matan Torah, and the splitting of the sea and the river, Lased Lovai, which is a ha'chana for, as you'll explain, the Torah Chadosha to be revealed by Mashiach. So first he said that what is the Chiddush of Matan Torah? The Chiddush of Matan Torah is that till Matan Torah there was a separation between Shamayim v'Oretz, which specifically means Atzilus and Biyah. Shamayim Shemayim LaHashem, v'Oretz Nasan Livnei Adam. Heaven belongs to God and earth to man. That's how it was till the giving of the Torah. In the words of the Medrash, right, the decree that separated Bnei Roimi from Bnei Surya, the upper kingdom from the lower kingdom. And one day the king abolishes the decree and says that the lower kingdom should ascend and the upper kingdom should descend. So too, Matan Torah was the decree, the division between heaven and earth, and Hashem abolishes it. Hashem kim har Sinai. And Moishe ascends, representing or affecting the Aliyah of the Mat. Now, V'hinei Gimel, so that's the Chiddush of Matan Torah, as he said, interesting, actually, very interesting expression that la'at, he mentions it twice in the Maimon. Bit by bit, post as a result of Matan Torah, mitzvah by mitzvah, as it were, heaven is drawn down and the world is elevated until they become one. We're still in that process now and basically completed it. Okay. In order to affect this novel fusion of Atzilus and Biyah, which is what Matan Torah affects, friends, this is not dissimilar to Maimorim ago. Reishis Goyim, Das Elyon, Das Tachten. Atzilus is Das Elyon, and Biyah is Das Tachten, and the Kavon is the fusion. So this is the giving of the Torah, is just that, is the fusion of Atzilus and Biyah. So in order for that to happen, Hutzachli is Gam Koid Matan Torah, but that Gam Koid Matan Torah, there had to be, even before the Torah was given, this fusion of Atzilus and Biyah, Lefisha, temporarily. Why? If temporary, so what's the value of it being temporary if it doesn't last? Just go straight for and have the effect what needs to be affected. Why must there be a ha'chana for Matan Torah? You see, he goes on to explain. Behektem the Torah miloshen hira. Torah is an instruction. The word Torah means hira. This is, something we're all familiar with, but you can see from the footnote. It's something that Rebbe has made like universal. Everybody knows this, but it was not a known thing. It's a radak and it's a zohar. That means instruction. Torah instructs us in life. From the time that a person is born, the Mashiach comes. What's your commentary? Immediately, either you say from till you're born till you die, or you say from creation to Mashiach. Pashtas, because the Rebbe is talking to everybody here now. So where we're holding, we're born, and what's the end of the Beis Mashiach? So that's the hero that talks to us specifically. So how do you instruct? This is Torah is an instruction. So we're being told how to instruct, how to teach. And the way you teach something is first, whatever you want to achieve has to be effected temporarily. And then only can it happen permanently. You can't begin with the permanent state. It has to start with the transient state. And from the transient state, it can become permanent. Or the cotton, just like you find a child's chinuch. We don't start at 13 in a vacuum. You're not mechuyev before. So why talk about it? It doesn't work that way, that you turn by mitzvah and bas mitzvah, now you're mechuyev. It has to be the chinuch before, even though relative to what's coming later, it's not of substance, it's temporary in that way. We also found, we just recently learned when dedicating the Mizbeach, there was a whole 7 days before and 12 days afterwards in the Siyum. They brought, that's actually the chinuch, was the karbonos of the Nesiyim. So these were unique karbonos, not brought later. Only then, temporary. There were lofty revelations, but temporary ones. Through this, then there could be the physical bringing of the karbonos. What's the contrast here? What does he have to do with gashmi in brackets? Just reading here. Well, what's he adding about? Why is he saying gashmi? Karbonos is not gashmi. So just go back a few words, you'll see. No, he just. But why stress the gashmi? If you just say karbonos, tmidim kesidim, what are we missing? He just said a moment ago, those revelations were more oyer than the gashmis. The gashmis was somewhat symbolic. The emphasis was not on the gashmis and the karbonos that they brought temporarily. Whereas the karbonos that are brought afterwards, the emphasis is the gashmis. So there's this, he's kind of implying that the hachana is greater in a way than the actual.
The korban gashmi is hachana to
The korban, he's saying that the korban is gashmim that they brought before will be ikar ruchnius. They were eres nailim. And that was a hachana for the korban is gashmim to nikisidim afterwards, which is implying to a degree, not to, from a certain perspective, the hachana is even greater than that which it is a hachana for. Eres nailim, lofty revelations. How would you say that's also true of chinuch even of a child? One aspect is the obvious aspect that a child, from some respect, is,
Young, they have no perception, they have no real. They just absorb it.
But why is it higher? Because that's the eres nailim, bringing out the hachana. Not mechuyev, so why does it make it higher? Okay, not mechuyev, they're still doing it.
Questioning is not their intellect,
Okay.
not the.
Yeah, and you also in the point, they're pure and innocent. They're tohidim, famous medrash. Your children all did this or will do this, and grandchildren. That what's the first thing a child learns? Vayikra, famous medrash. You'll be tohidim, that the pure ones come. V'yasku. And deal with the subject that deal with tahara. Actually addresses that. Karbonos is not tahara. Karbonos is kosher and apostle. Tomei and kedusha, but not tahara so much. That's it. At any rate, he actually ties it in to Noach's avodah, which was tahara, also like a child before Matan Torah. Now, another little quiz question for you. Where else in your life, most of you, if not all of you, in your life, do you have this example of achana mitzad echad being higher than that which is it is achana for?
bringing the first lichus.
Okay. Yeah, the chuppah, the badakin / chuppah is a higher giloi than the hashpah pnimius, which follows. But it's only achana for the hashpah pnimius, and in the hashpah pnimius, the etzem is drawn. That's the whole point of the maimer, of the l'chadaydi that you said. No, so why do you think this is? Why can't we just go? Did he explain this? Why can't you just go straight in? Okay, a child, you understand. You cannot expect the day you turn 13, you're gonna be able to become mitzvahs. You have to be trained. Chinuch means trained, one of its meanings. To train on a particular path. Good, it's especially practical, but I'm asking more Baruchnius, why do you think this is that you have to have this hachana, and hachana weighs even higher, and it's oir and gilui.
Golus is achana to geula.
I don't know if it's the same model, because that's mamash choshech. Well, I'm not sure if it's the same model, but I'm asking the models we used here. Just what's the hasbara? What's the explanation why you need to have before Matan Torah this tremendous gilui of Kriyas Yamsuf, and likewise before Torah Chadash that Mashiach will reveal, we need not just the ocean but the river to split. Why does something radical and new require? Why is it critical to the biyachana? Push it, no. Because it'll just shatter the keli. It's something radical and new, and there hasn't been acclimatization and exposure. It'll shatter. That's the biyachana. And the pella is that the achana is bemes higher than the person. It just opens him up. There's something greater. The idea of the achana is there's something more. You open up. What you thought there's more. There's something greater. What exactly? Don't know. Adarabbe, it is a gilui oir higher. It just so that opens up. We don't want to shpok pnimis now because that is not ready for it. That requires tremendous avodah. But just an overall awakening that there's more, there's something higher about to come that we're going to bring to you and introduce to it, lahavdal elef havdolas, like the trailer of a movie. I mean, it's not a good example, but he doesn't get the story there. And what do they show there? They show all the exciting things also. What's this? The whole point is to draw you in by showing you something that's dramatic and that you didn't expect. If you expect it, not watching it, you want to see something novel. So, for example, perhaps, but somewhat illustrated.
That connected it all to the idea that you're learning Torah in the womb and then you forget it. So what's the point?
Kind of similar, yeah. So yeah. By Chassidim, the achana can take much more time and longer than the actual avodah. The achana for davening. Learning Chassidus, the ikar is the davening zok. Say the words v'hafta and then mean it. To get to that mean it, the achana is what's the famous word of Chassidim by Avram, by Yashkim, Avram Babeker. Avram got up early in the morning and he saddled his donkey. Yeah, Akeda. I forget the lashon is beautiful. It says Yiddish. I forgot the word there to use to saddle. It's a Yiddish word. The point is, whatever it is, he did there giton, and it didn't make his way out till the day was half gone already. The vayachlesh, the preparing himself to go to the Akeda, took up most of it, or at least midday. It wasn't before midday before he actually embarked. He got up early in the morning, but when we're saddling the donkey and then getting the eitzim with Baruchni, all of the avodah to offer his son, the avodah in the achana, the peil, he actually didn't embark and do the Akeda till who knows when, before Shkia, whenever it was, just before the end of the day. It's an expression. Let's continue. We'll come back into number 30 in the text. So Torah is a hero b'chaim. Torah tells us this is the way you inspire, educate, growth. There has to be a achana before the actual hamshacha, as we just explained. So likewise, Matan Torah, a great novelty is about to happen. The chibur of Atzilus Ubiyah, that can't happen without preparation, without opening, without the wonder of it all in some way being connected to. And that is, had to be temporary. That's Kriyas Yamsuf. That was the the temporary fusion of Atzilus and Biyah, Achron is preparation, like Atzilus and Biyah, the Achron that will happen on Matan Torah, where it's going to be permanent. And as you said earlier in the previous paragraph, the La'at, interesting what David didn't say La'at for sure. When he said the Maimet, maybe it's a Bislach Vayis. Interesting what actually expression he used. La'at is a modern Hebrew expression. It's not really rabbinic Hebrew. Kalponim, but bit by bit, mitzvah by mitzvah, the world, Atzilus and Biyah fuse in the two directions of L'mayla L'mata and L'mata L'mayla. What's the Inyan? So we now give the outline. What's the Hasbara? What's Yamsuf? What's Kriyas Yamsuf? In the Yamsuf, so the Yamsuf for Pechinas Malchus, Datzilus. What's the Yamsuf? The Yamsuf is the incarnate of Malchus Datzilus, the ocean. Shusov called Dargin Datzilus. So Malchus is the end of all of the Madregas of Atzilus. The Hefsek ben Atzilus and Biyah, and that which interposes, as it were, between Atzilus and Biyah. It's like Malchus Datzilus. What's the analogy to an ocean? No, but what's the Begashmi is? What's the parallel here? But it's an ocean. Huh? Yeah, it's more that it covers inside as a teeming world of life, very complex life, but we don't see it. It's covered to the naked eye. So Malchus conceals Alma Discassia, the hidden world, which is Atzilus, hidden from us, from our experience. So Nikras Pchinas Malchus Yam Va'aretz. It's sometimes called an ocean and also called the earth, because the earth too, why? First of all, earth is easy. The earth is like the lowest level of creation. Malchus is the last level of Atzilus. But the parallel goes further also. The earth also conceals great treasures, etc., beneath, that not apparent to the naked eye. So what's the parallel of Malchus within the person? Right, all of the Indonim L'mayla, the parallel B'nefesh Adam. So what's Malchus B'nefesh Adam? V'ni Malchus Yidibah, Malchus is speech. Where do we say that, friends? What's the Chaliyah? Malchus Peh Karin Allah. So the Inyan Hadibur, what speech? It's like an ocean. Why? On the one hand, you're speaking. So what are you doing? You're expressing yourself to your fellow. So what's the parallel to Malchus? We just concealment continues. When a person wants to express to his fellow either an idea or a feeling, whether it's an intellectual thing or an emotional thing, he has to invest them where and conceal them in the letters of speech. So the words themselves conceal the idea contained within them, like the ocean, the earth. And you have to discover the meaning. Right? We pointed out that the Hebrew word for word is teva, taf, yud, beis, hey. A teva is a container, because the word's a container. You have to have the language, the skill to unlock the meaning in the word, the listener. And that's why, so on the one hand, you're talking to your fellow, and you want to express to him and reveal to him what's in your mind, in your heart. However, what he receives, even he decodes it. He understands the language, he's listening and paying attention. Nonetheless, what he gets at the outset, at least, is only the external investor that is invested in these very words. This is what the Gemara says, that it takes 40 years before a person grasps the mind, as it were, of his master, till he arrives at it. What's going on here? The Rab wants to teach him and reveal to him. And he wants to reveal to him the idea that he has in his head. He arranges this idea with the letters of speech that contain, it's all there in those letters. Everything he wants to tell him, they're carefully chosen words. And it's all there, the depth of the idea that he wants to convey. So that's what's happening from the very beginning. At the very beginning. And not only that, a true Talmud stands there listening with true bittul. The true bittul means he comes open and without trying to make associations, and certainly his mind isn't distracted. He's not even trying to make associations with anything else. He's just hearing. He listens to the words of the Rab like a student ought to listen. But often in such a way, it's the pasuk in Shir HaShirim. So she says, she's Neshamas Yisrael, about him, that his lips drip myrrh. Myrrh is a fragrance. What is it? It's a kind of, it's a fragrance. So the Gemara says myrrh, and then before that the pasuk mentions like a rose amongst it. It mentions the need of Sheshana. So Sheshana, the Gemara says Sheshonim, to learn. When you learn Torah, you have to learn Torah in such a way that the Talmud stands there mar with bittul, as bitterness, as it were, bittul, bitter in the virtuous sense. Beima beyira. So that's the play on this word moir. Marin Shabbos there. So everything, what he's saying is that the master wants to give and the disciple wants to hear and he listens with bittul. Nonetheless, what he's getting at the outset, the Rachitzin is only external. Because in the words, in order for him to unlock the depth, it takes time. Until that time, all he's grasping and receiving is the chitzonius. So what's the model? So Malchus is peh, Malchus is words. Same is also true of Malchus Datzilus. How so? The Malchus is like a word. A word is just the collision of the 5 organs of speech producing a sound. It means nothing. It means nothing. It only means something because we've invested in that word associated meaning to it. Right? It's just a sound. Someone doesn't understand English, is listening here, and highly intelligent, gets nothing, hears every word. It means absolutely nothing to him because he doesn't know what this word, it's a box, it's an envelope. So the envelope has what's in it, is what's in it. The envelope itself has no communication. It's the letter inside the envelope. You have to be able to open it. That's the skills of language. So that's Malchus. Malchus is nothing of its own. It's a word. It's the funnel, the channel by which it conveys Atzilus to Biyah. In Ikras, Knesset Yisrael, Malchus is called Knesset Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael, of course, is the term we use to describe the collective identity of the Jewish people. The word Knesset means gathering. Al Shem Shekeneses Vayisefes Kol Agiloyim B'Seicha. Malchus is called Knesset Yisrael because she gathers all of the Giloyim. Atzilus is all invested in Malchus. Mimena Nimshach Lebiyah, and that's the whole Avodah, God's word. God speaks means that God is revealing his divine attributes, Chacham bin Das, and his midas, depending what he's communicating to us. That's Biyah. We clear so far, yeah? What the pearl is experienced by Biyah is only the external, the word. There's meaning there, but it's only the chitzonius. The emphasis is that in these words, the whole pnimius lies here, but that's a whole avodah of 40 years. That's avodah of Torah mitzvahs ever since Torah was given at Sinai to unlock this depth. What is consciously conveyed from Atzilis to Biyah? Only an external revelation. But the Pnimius remains concealed and requires avodah to reveal it. And likewise, mitzad olam habriya. Chayri is saying, but the nimshach from Atzilus to Biyah's chitzonius, and Briya only gets the chitzonius. I think that's what he's saying. What do you have to add that? I don't know. If anybody has another explanation, please share it. Let's continue. Yeah, Kivan she's chach just the Matan Torah who. So what's the whole chiddush in Matan Torah? Givaldi sheyeh b'biyah gam ha'pnimius da'atzilus. The whole kavanah is not this external relationship, but a pnimius dika relationship. Which could be expressed this way. Before Matan Torah, as the Maimon will say in very subtle, exquisite layers, before Matan Torah, we get Eibishter's word. He had to God to create the world, if not through his words. The Sora Maimon is, in fact, the Seres HaDibur is a reflection of the Sora Maimon. Poshet, as explained in Kabbalah and Chassidus, Chachma, Bina, Das, Mamish, all the way down to Malchus. So Hashem spoke and the world came into existence. This was around before the world couldn't exist otherwise. Malchus, Atzilus is creating Biyah. What's the Chiddush in Matan Torah? The Pnimius. What's the Pnimius? Don't just get my words, get me. That's I want you to connect to me, not just what I'm saying, not just the words. That both from Kloli, that's what Matan Torah is. A person can be enamored, and a relationship can be just the words and the beautiful words. But that's the whole glue, is there. But no one gave themselves to each other. I mean, even words, other things. Matan Torah is not just in those words, I'm giving myself, and that's a whole different thing. So let's see, there's Matan Torah, and then there's Bias and Mashiach. Let's embark on the journey. Since the whole Kabbalah the Matan Torah is the whole novel thing is that should be in Biyah the Pnimis of Atzilus. Which another way of stating that is, God is saying, why do you think I created the world? Because I want you. So in the Matan Torah, before that has to be Kriyas Yamsuf, this moment of, whoa. It's not what we thought it was all about. At least temporarily, a glimpse of it, an opening, a little crack in the armor. So that's what's happening by Kriyas Yamsuf, a temporary chibur in a very lofty way of Atzilus and Biyah. Because what happened here, the sea opens up, Kriyas Hayom, the sea opens up behind the Kriyas Hayel, the concealment opened up. Temporarily then, and brilliantly, and that then was the fusion. Now the pratim. And this fusion happens in two directions. The first thing is Atzilus is drawn down into Biyah. That's one. That moment became rarefied and elevated, and was elevated to Atzilus. Yeah, I mean, this is Begashmi's geography. not geography, different term here, whatever it is. This way and that way. What it means, think about later. They just first get it technically. Now, how this into we find two expressions describing Kriyas Yamsuf. One pasuk says in Tilim, Hofach Yom Layabosha. He transformed the sea into dry land. What is that conveying? What's the main ness? The sea that was formerly a sea that conceals is now dry land, meaning that which concealed now is revealed. That's one Indian. Another pasuk says in the Shira, in Achron to the Shira, Yidden entered by Basha into the ocean on dry land. What's the kvetch here? Sheikah Rabusi, what's the main chidush? Rabusa means what's the extra? What's being conveyed here? In the ocean, the walking in dry land, within the concealment itself, there was revelation. Each one stresses the other way. Is the Ike Chidush Malamayla Lamata, Atzilus is descent, or the Ike Chidush is beyond the Yidden walking in the ascent of the Mata Malamayla Lamata. That the Yidden are walking into the Helem, a place which was till now hitherto concealed, walking into that concealment. And it's now revealed for them because they've entered it. We've seen the physical, the Pesukim. The emphasis. Is it clear? The two Pesukim. The first one is what? He's talking about God. God transformed the sea into dry land. That's Tamshach Atzilus Lamata. The second one focuses on Yidden walking to the dry land. That's Lamata Lamayla. They're entering into a place which they normally would not be able to enter. It's removed from them. Now they enter, they ascended. We're clear? Can we just finish the next line here? So, Chassidus explains, again, Zohar and Kisvei Arizal, each one stresses, the Zohar, it seems, stresses the Lamayla Lamata, the HaVachrim Le'ebasha, and the Kisvei Arizal stresses the Aliyah of Biyah Atzilus. So this explains the one expresses one thing and the other expresses the other, but they're not arguing because both happen, as expressed by the two Pesukim. The Zohar and the Arizal do not quote the Pesukim. They just talk what happened by Matan Torah. They're saying we see it in the two Pesukim, but it's not a stira. The two Pesukim are describing different dimensions. The Kivin Shachib Datzilis would be Yifani, because in fact this chibur, this fusion happened both ways. Shatzilis Timshach Babiyah, Atzilich was drawn down, conveyed in the pasuk, he transformed the sea to dry land, Shebchina Sahel and Bob Gilead, that which is concealed is now revealed. Beyond this Alabatzilis, and the second thing, movement is that Biyah ascends Tatzilus, in the ocean, which is normally inaccessible, they walk on dry land. In the Helim, normally now we have experienced this Helim, we've entered into this Helim, and it's revealed for us. Let's conclude. We'll stop here on the Russia. He sums it up. Today's